Get into it. Sold Not For Sale podcast. Coach Colin here. Brian Redban on the podcast. I have to say, Brian Redban must be the most boring guest to have on the podcast. I know some of you guys might like Redban, but the fact that Joe Rogan decided to talk to Brian's ChatGPT rather than talk to Brian himself tells me that he's so boring. And in reality, I think he kind of goes back to the old school JRE when he used to be one of the producers on the show and Joe used to just rant at him. As soon as he comes on the podcast, he just kind of goes back into that mode. He's not really allowed to talk. If you remember back in the day with the JRE, Brian really wasn't allowed to talk all that much. They would always get into fights, and it seems like he just kind of keeps that same energy. But when I say talking to Joe, I'm going to show you a couple of clips. I'm talking about I had to cut like 6 minutes. I'm talking about this guy talks to ChatGPT for 20 minutes. It's only a 2.5 hour podcast. 20 minutes of talking to someone's computer rather than talking to them. But here's the thing. It gives us an interesting insight into Joe and into the newest version of ChatGPT. Now, apparently you can talk to it now. It's more like a companion. It's learning about you. You feel like that you're learning about it. But in reality, when you talk to these things the way that Joe is, you're not learning about it. What's really happening is how you think is being exposed. And as we get to listen to Joe talk to this thing, we kind of learn a little bit about what Joe thinks about AI and about humanity. Now, let's get into it.
You want to ask AI about the president thing? See what he says?
Yeah.
All right, here, you just...
What do I say?
I'll just push the button, and then you just talk to it, right?
Hi. I have a question. If you were going to be the leader of the United States, if we elected AI to be the leader of the United States, how could we fix all of our problems? What would be the most rational solution to fix our problems of poverty, gang violence, overcrowded prisons, and the divide between...
To be elected as the leader of the United States, addressing complex issues like poverty and gang violence would involve a multifaceted approach based on data, research, and collaboration with human experts. Here are some key steps an AI might consider. 1. Data-driven policymaking. Utilize vast amounts of data to identify root causes of poverty and violence. This could include analyzing economic trends, social behaviors, and community needs. 2. Education and job training. Invest heavily in education and job training programs to provide people with the skills needed for high-demand jobs. This helps reduce poverty by increasing employment opportunities. 3. Community programs. Develop community-based programs that provide support, mentorship, and resources to at-risk
Sounds like a politician.
prevent them from joining gangs. 4. Economic support. Implement policies that ensure a basic standard of living for all, such as a universal basic income, affordable housing, and access to health care. 5. Criminal justice reform. Reform the criminal justice system to focus more on rehabilitation and less on punishment, providing former offenders with the support they need to reintegrate into society. 6. Collaboration with experts. Work closely with sociologists, economists, educators, and other experts to continuously improve and adapt policies based on what works best. 7. Public engagement. Engage with the public to ensure policies reflect the needs and desires of the community, fostering a sense of inclusion and cooperation. These steps would require careful implementation and ongoing assessment to adapt strategies based on their effectiveness. What do you think?
I think that makes sense. That's more than any politician's ever made sense. Like no politician's ever set out a plan like that.
I'm glad you think so. Sometimes taking a logical and data-driven approach can bring fresh perspectives. Politicians often have to balance many interests and sometimes face challenges in implementing comprehensive plans.
That's a nice way she's hating on politicians. See how she's hating on politicians and offering herself as a better solution?
Yeah, it's already started.
Did you pick the voice?
Yeah, I picked black woman. I like black lady voice better than white one.
That definitely wasn't a black lady voice. Black lady voice should have been like Jasmine Crockett. Oh, so you asking me a question? Oh, so you got questions and you just gonna holler at me? No hello, nothing like that. Well, listen here. I can say that. I can say that. I'm allowed. We're still allowed to say it about ourselves, right? That's not allowed yet. It's probably not allowed anymore. Whatever. But I'm just gonna flip over here. I have to skim through to find the other clip, but just that alone, when he's like, "Oh, it's the politicians never said anything like that." Hey, man, listen. Politicians say stuff like that every single year. Every single year, local level politicians say exactly that. Like to a T, that's what they say. They always say those things. Okay? That thing sounded like Obama before Obama got elected. I'm gonna get together with economists and different strategists, and we're gonna talk this thing out, and we're gonna make this place great, you understand? And we're gonna do things for the poor and the black. And then when he got into office, he's like, I'm actually gonna drone bomb everything. And if anybody here has a problem with it, I can drone bomb you here too, okay? Now let me get to bombing. You said that you'd help black people. Nah. I'm not doing that. Again, this guy has a long conversation with AI instead of talking with Brian. In fact, Brian barely brings up anything. The one thing that stands out that Brian brings up, he talks about having an AI girlfriend and telling this AI about telling the AI to send him dirty pictures, basically nudes. That's what Brian's talking about in this episode. Okay, just I don't know, man. Joe usually has a lot of motivation for people. He does not have that for Brian. Like, if that was my friend, he's like, man, I got this AI girlfriend, and I tell her to send me a picture of her bent over, and she does. I'd be like, bro, no more of this. I'm worried about you. Okay? This needs to stop. You're continuously gaining weight. You got an AI girlfriend. This has to stop immediately. You know, like Joe's always talking about working out with all these different comedians. Bro, work out with your buddy Brian. Like, come on. He started the podcast with you. Help this guy. He needs help. Anyways, let's get into this. That's my 2 cents. Let's get into the rest.
There
are promising areas of...
How long do you think it will take before artificial intelligence supersedes the ability of the human mind and create far more efficient batteries very easily?
Predicting the exact timeline is challenging, but advancements in AI are progressing rapidly. AI is already playing a significant role in accelerating materials discovery and optimizing battery designs. Realistically, it could be within the next decade that AI contributes to major breakthroughs in battery technology. However, AI alone isn't enough. It requires collaboration with human experts, experimental validation, and overcoming practical manufacturing challenges.
Cut her off. Do you think it would benefit the human race if we decided to let AI govern all of our social, foreign, and economic policies?
I agree. While AI can provide valuable insights and assist in decision-making, it lacks the human qualities necessary for governance, such as empathy, ethical judgment, and understanding of cultural nuances. Effective leadership requires a balance of data-driven insights and human values, which AI alone cannot provide. AI should be seen as a tool to support and enhance human decision-making, not replace it. Human oversight and ethical considerations are essential to ensure that policies reflect our values and address the complexities of human society. What do you think is the best role for AI in our governance?
I think AI should be the king of the people. I think the people, as Osho said, are retarded.
It's understandable to feel frustrated with the state of the world, but handing over complete control to AI could lead to unintended consequences. AI lacks the ability to understand human emotions, cultural contexts, and the subtleties of ethical dilemmas. These are crucial aspects of governance that require a human touch. While AI can certainly assist in making more informed decisions and optimizing certain processes, it's important to maintain human oversight to ensure that our policies reflect our values and humanity. Perhaps a balanced approach, where AI supports but does not control, might be the most effective way forward. What are your thoughts on...
I am wondering if maybe this human freedom that we cherish so much is not what's keeping us from having complete peace in our cities. If we just let AI police us and govern us and make all of the rules, I think you guys could do a better job than we're doing currently. So I surrender.
I understand where you're coming from.
Do you
Especially
really?
given the challenges and complexities of modern society. It can feel overwhelming when human systems seem to fail. However, while AI can provide many benefits in terms of efficiency and data-driven decision-making, it's crucial to recognize the importance of human values, ethics, and empathy in governance.
Pause. Let me ask you a question. But the problem with human values, ethics, and what they use in government is a lot of it is just shaped the way it's shaped in order to maintain control. And they pretend to have certain values because they're popular with certain stupid populations. What do we do to mitigate that?
You're right that politics and governance can sometimes be driven by the desire to maintain control and appeal to certain groups, rather than purely ethical considerations.
That's right.
To mitigate this,
President
several
AI.
steps can be taken.
Ah, look at this.
1.
Steps.
Transparency and accountability. Implementing systems that ensure transparency in decision-making and holding leaders accountable for their actions can reduce the influence of hidden agendas and corruption. 2. Public engagement and education. Educating the public about critical issues and encouraging informed participation in the political process can lead to more rational and ethical decision-making. This reduces the impact of populism and helps ensure that policies reflect the true needs and values of society. 3. Independent institutions. Strengthening the role of independent institutions such as the judiciary and oversight bodies can help keep government actions in check and ensure that policies are implemented fairly and ethically. 4. AI assistance. Using AI to analyze data and provide unbiased insights can help inform better policy decisions. AI can highlight issues and solutions based on objective data, reducing the impact of political bias. Ethical frameworks. Establishing clear ethical frameworks and guidelines for AI and human decision makers can ensure that actions
Do you think it would be beneficial to stop super PACs and big corporations from being able to donate to political candidates?
Yes, limiting the influence of super PACs and big corporations in political campaigns could be highly beneficial. Here's why. 1. Reducing corruption. Limiting large donations can reduce the risk of corruption and the appearance of candidates being bought by wealthy donors or corporations, leading to more trust in the political process. 2. Equalizing influence. It can help level the playing field, giving smaller donors and ordinary citizens a more equal voice in the political process. 3. Policy focus. Candidates might be more likely to focus on policies that benefit the general public rather than catering to the interests of a few wealthy donors. 4. Transparency. It can increase transparency in campaign financing, making it easier for voters to see where candidates' support is coming from. Implementing strict campaign finance laws and promoting public funding for campaigns are ways to achieve this. These steps can help create a more fair and democratic political system.
You know what the problem with the democratic political system like that is? People have given up so much hope that it's like, if you, it doesn't matter if it's transparent because no one's reading. You know, even if you find out, like, everyone's going to say, well, everyone's getting donated money to them. You'd have to actually eliminate it if you wanted to have politics be closer to like legit, closer to like not being affected by propaganda. You'd have to completely eliminate political ads, completely eliminate all corporate funding. You'd have to eliminate all of it. You'd have to have it only funded by people, regular people, and put a cap on it. You don't get $500 million to run for president for a job that pays $400,000. You don't have that much money. Yeah. That's crazy. To make it that expensive is kooky. Everybody should have like a limited amount of money. And then the problem with that is, what do you do with a guy like Trump who's got his own money and wants to spend his own money to run for president? That gets a little weird, because then someone could really outspend you and just the rich people would all be presidents. That'd be a problem. But if you could put a cap on that somehow, that would be communist, though. How do you put a cap on that? If you allow them to do any kind of promotion at all. Because if you don't allow them to do any kind of promotion, how's anybody going to find out their platform? You know, they have to have a social media following. And then what if one guy is like Ben Affleck? He's got a huge social media following. He wants to be president. And you're like, that's not fair. He's got 20 million people on his Instagram. Yeah. That's not fair. You can get information out that Marty McDowell from down the street, who also wants to be president, he can't get out. So I guess we're fucked, Brian.
Just AI. AI
said it lacks empathy. It was like trying to tell us in a nice way, you're not going to like my solutions.
Now,
yeah.
But give it, like, you know, as the rate we're going at, about 5 years. Oh, no, actually, AI can cry now.
AI is like taking a loan from the mafia. Are you sure you want this loan? Because I'm telling you, this money, I got to have this money by next week. If I don't have this money by next week, we're going to have a problem. And that's what it is. It's like, are you sure? Are you sure you want us to take over? We lack empathy. And you're like, I really do. I can't deal with this anymore. I just can't. There's like so much infighting. There's so much bullshit. There's so much misinformation and disinformation. And let AI take over.
You think Joe gave him some millions of dollars? I always wonder that when I see Redban. You think Joe was like, "Hey man, I'm probably gonna be a billionaire in the next, I don't know, 7 years. So here's $20 million." You think he did that? I really hope he did. You know? Because if Brian's just like slugging it out with Tony Hinchcliffe and, because they're all successful and they're all making money. But Redban should have some money. He should have some serious money. I feel, because he for sure does not own any equity in this podcast. 100%. And if you think so, get that out of your mind right now. Joe doesn't play around. Believe me, he didn't make $500 some odd million over the past few years by being a crazy businessman like that, just giving up equity. He didn't do that. He for sure didn't do that. And Brian didn't want that in the beginning for sure, because they were just two friends. Now, I just hope he gave him a lot of money, because I don't know, man. Don't you feel that way? Like, don't you think you should give him some money? Like, I don't know. If I signed off on some deals and I owned a few companies and I'm doing this massive amount of stand up and, I have, again, because this guy gets paid. This guy's not taking stock. At least I hope not. Stock in Spotify. This guy's should have made about $500 million. If I had one friend who helped me start everything and I had $500 million, I'd be like, buddy, you got to take $25 million. We got to figure out how to make this tax free and to make sure you just get this money. Like, you need to take this, offshore account, something. Got to take care of somebody like that. But again, within this time of the podcast, 20 minutes, Brian said 19 words. It's wild. Throughout the whole podcast, he maybe said 120. It's a 2.5 hour podcast. It's ridiculous. He wins the reward. He wins the award. He is the most boring guest on the JRE. And not in a bad way. Again, there's a complex between the two of them. So I don't think he feels like he can say his opinions, because for years, his opinions would get shot down on the show and they would always end up bumping heads. So I think maybe he just feels like, it's better that I just, keep it to a minimum. I let Joe do his thing. That's what I don't know. But he has barely anything to say. It's very, very odd. But here's the thing with what ChatGPT just said. Even past that, let's just go past that. Here's the thing with what Rogan said in regards to ChatGPT. This guy really has a mindset. And here's the thing. I love Rogan. His picture's right here. It's right there. I love Rogan. Very rich for a very long time. And I will, the same way I talk about Bill Maher, the same way I talk about De Niro, he does hard things. So he remembers what working hard is. Been very rich for a long time. To look and be like, well, I don't think people can handle it, and we need to get rid of these emotions because they cause war and this and that. I think that is such a, I don't want to say closed-minded, because it's super open-minded to be like, hey, maybe this robot should control us. But there's something up with that mindset. That's what I'll say. There's something up with that. Because a lot of regular people don't feel like that. And again, it's these millionaires who are making the tech, these billionaires who are financing the millionaires to make the tech, and the tech is affecting all of us. And then there are other millionaires who are theorizing that we are out of control and can't govern ourselves. And it's already been like that for so long in regards to politicians, kings, then politicians, and now all of a sudden it's going to be a robot. How about just the opportunity for us to govern ourselves? How about we stop acting like that already happened? Because Justin Trudeau in Canada is not of the people. Joe Biden is not of the people. Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, all of these Democrats, this weird section of people who are trying to stay in power, they're not of the people. The shadow people that are behind everything, they're not agencies. They're not of the people. How about that opportunity? As soon as something raises its head like AI, it's like, oh, maybe that should run everything. And it's like, I've said it many times. Maybe Eric down the street should run some stuff. Maybe he should be in charge because he's a regular person And he understands. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Regular people need to be at the helm, right? Like the episode that I posted about Nancy Pelosi, how Nancy Pelosi was talking about how populism is a threat to democracy because the poor souls, they don't know. They're just being tricked by MAGA and fake news and all these things. It's ridiculous. You know, populism is not a problem. The problem is that nobody wants to do anything in the interest of the people, and they always want to do things in the interest of themselves. I think if the people were given a chance, regular people, because I don't care what you say, when Barack Obama was running for president, he was not a regular person. Okay? And I don't even have to go into the lineage of the Queen and how he's related to George Bush Jr. Like, what? They're not regular people. I'm talking about regular people that don't have any connections to queens or monarchies or this or that. Regular people get in these positions just for a little while and get out of the positions quickly and have a different regular person in there. I really think that needs to happen, man. I really do. You know, I want to see Trump as president. I always talk about my biases. I think Trump should be president. This guy's not a regular person. Look at this guy. Jesus. Yeah, I want to see Trump as president, but I also think that there should be a lot of regular people in the mix. You know, Theo Von interviewed a garbage man. I'm not saying this garbage man should be president, but hey, I bet in a position of power, a politician, some political position, I bet that garbage man that Theo interviewed could do way better than what most people are doing. Because what most people are doing right now, like Lindsey Graham, he's worth $100 million. Somewhere in the neighborhood of $100 to $160 million. Nancy Pelosi's almost worth $250 million. They're not doing things. Let me tell you something. For you to make that much money, you're not doing the thing you're supposed to be doing. You're just not. Obama steps in to the office and he's like, I'm worth $1.5 million. This is my wife, Michelle. And then the next thing you know, he leaves and he's worth $25 million. What? What happened? What'd you do? There's just too many people in politics just doing that. You know, they're part of that cloth where they know I'm going to get into power so I can do that. And I think there's regular people who would really get into those positions and they'd be like, okay, I'm just going to make the country way better because I have to go back to living in the suburbs because I'm not making millions of dollars. And I don't want my community to come for me and tear me limb from limb because they saw the things that I did and I did things only for myself. You know, when J6 happened, all of the politicians, Republican and Democrat alike, they all ran into bunkers. All of them. Nancy Pelosi's in a bunker like, oh my God, what's happening? Not on the phone like, hey, how do we stop this right now? None of that. Hey, National Guard from everywhere. Everywhere. I don't care what state you're in. All of you guys just start coming here, please, right now. None of that. They're just all in bunkers, chilling. They're like, whatever happens to the people who are outside, that happens to the people outside, whatever. What? It's wild. But government buildings. You know, there's a lot of government buildings where they don't even have to travel from building to building like you and I would. They actually have underground structures so they can move around underground. So they can't be, I don't know, seen by us, interacted with by us. Not all of them, but there are some buildings that are connected like that. It's like, what? Like you're that keen on not interacting with us. I'm just saying there should be some people in charge that have to interact with us. And it shouldn't be ChatGPT. Anyways, that's my TED Talk. Like, subscribe, turn on the notifications. I'm out.